we are going to move on to Genesis Phase 2 now. All right, moving on to Genesis Phase 2. So I believe this starts at about 1 hour and 27 minutes if you're looking at the dedicated video by CIG. I do actually want to talk about the people who made this stuff, because I think sometimes we forget that, and I actually forgot it when I talked about Phase 1. So Will Hain is the senior engine programmer, level 1, and Ali Brown is the senior director of graphics and procedural tech. They are responsible for the Genesis Phase 1 stuff. So let's start giving some shout outs to these developers. You know, these are, and a lot of these developers are not the developers that get a lot of the attention, right? So we all kind of know John Crew, right? Because he does the ships. We might know Ben Curtis now because he's been on a lot more ship videos. You know, I mean, I know a lot of these people, like, and now I got pictures with a lot of them because of CitizenCon. That was fun. I'll be going to every CitizenCon from now on, so that's how much fun it was. If you get the chance to go to a CitizenCon, go. But Mark Gibson, right? He's been on a lot of videos. So like, there's a lot of people, and we know a lot of the ship team because they're on so many ISCs, and we know that ships sell and stuff like that. But Genesis Phase 2, Sebastian Schroeder, some people might know, but these people, they deserve their credit too. So I'm going to call them out as far as what they're responsible for. So senior Sebastian Schroeder, excuse me if I say your name wrong as well, but Sebastian Schroeder, senior principal environment tech artist. He's the one who worked on Genesis Phase 2, or at least he presented it. I don't know if all of these people specifically worked on it, but I'm going to present it as though they worked on it. And then if CIG wants to correct me down low, then they can. Now that I know that a few CIG folks watch my videos, hey, what's up, CIG? I see you. You know, job openings anytime soon. You know, I can move to Montreal. You know, I can move to Manchester, but you got to pay me a lot more to move to Manchester. But yeah. Anyway, swamps. Swamps. So unique flora and fauna based on the watery floor. So if you watch the Phase 1 part, then you know what we're talking about when we say watery floor. So when they came out, they talked about, you know, how the same things that we talked about in Phase 1, you know, the weather, the erosion, all that stuff determines what's going to grow. So obviously if the floor is constantly wet, certain things won't get enough sunlight, so they won't grow, but other things will get perfect amount of sunlight, so they will grow. And then there will be creatures hidden below the water, so there will be swimming creatures. Now, if you watch the whole CitizenCon, then we know that fishing is not going to be even in 1.0 Star Citizen, but it will come at a later patch. So don't think that that's what that means. Creatures hidden below is normally going to be enemies to fight, and we'll probably have some weapons that we can use to fight those enemies. Or it could just be maybe that when he says fishing, he's saying like just with a rod, that type of fishing is not coming, and maybe we will be able to grab certain things out of the water. Don't know yet. Sunken ships, right? So imagine like, you know, trying to salvage a ship, but you got to pull it out of the water first. And maybe the components are worse for wear or better, you know, maybe they're preserved better because they're in a swamp. I don't know. Interactable environments, like, so when they showed the video, there was, you know, the person was walking through and logs and foliage were moving as they touched them. So this is all interactable stuff. So think Maelstrom when you think interactable, but only partially, right? And then jungles. So swamps, jungles, obviously you should know the difference, but I'll explain it a little bit. So swamps are watery floor, water is the center of everything. Jungles where grass and overgrowth are the center of everything at the bottom. Trees are normally bigger in jungles, a little bit smaller in swamps and things like that, but everything is overgrown, and that's kind of the idea. But the idea is also that you'll be able to hide your ship in the density of the trees. And when they were doing the swamp thing, I don't know if you noticed, but they kind of did a call back to Luke Skywalker lifting the X-Wing out of the swamp. You know, they kind of did that, so it was pretty cool. Forests and redwoods. So massive trees, obviously. The only things overgrown are trees and ferns. And that's how you can tell the difference between the jungles and the forest, right? So jungles, everything is overgrown, right? Forests, you have the massive trees and massive ferns, so like bushes and stuff like that will be overgrown. Maybe some grass, but it's mostly bushes and trees that are overgrown. And the trees in a forest are much larger generally than the trees in a jungle. So that's a little bit of a difference too. Now, as far as larger, I mean taller and thicker, but jungles will have a more different, like a differentiation of trees. Now, I'm not a science major, so if I got that a little bit wrong, go to the comments. I'm sure a science major is down there chewing me up and telling you, no, that's not what a jungle is. That's what this is. So yeah, go find that person and, you know, yeah, have fun. All right, that is it for Genesis Phase 2.